Stepfather demanded me $35,000 to pay for my brother's wedding. When I said no more, they crashed my bridal shower but went pale when security arrived. My wedding preparations took 22 months. I saved every dime from my additional hospital shifts as a radiologic technician. My fiancé Ryan and I saved $35,000. We booked a vineyard, hired a photographer. I took the bus when Sent got a car for his 17th birthday. His parents paid for college, whereas I borrowed. After he left junior year to become a DJ, Mr. Harrison called him creative. After I graduated from Vermont, he said anybody can memorize textbooks. Lucas lived at home rent-free until he was 30, while I paid my parents $600 a month at 18 to learn responsibility. Sophie and Lucas got engaged last month. They've dated 8 months. He proposed with a ring he bought on payments he skipped. No savings, no plan. I assumed someone would help him again. Mr. Harrison called me the next day to aid Lucas with wedding costs. Even though it was sad, Ryan and I were busy with our wedding. He said church basement like it was ordinary. I laughed, thinking he was joking. He was not. He thought I was greedy for having a lavish wedding while Lucas had nothing. I should help my brother because I've always managed money well. I reminded him that I was better at money management since I had worked since 14, whereas Lucas received an allowance until 25. Mr. Harrison called me theatrical and said families support each other. I said no and hung up. Mr. Harrison called daily with new ideas for 3 weeks. Cancel the photographer and pay Lucas. Return my clothes for a bargain. Cut the guest list in half. Pizza instead of dinner. Each idea is more insulting. Mom ran in, saying I was tearing the family apart over money. Lucas deserves a great wedding too. That I should examine how everyone felt. Lucas phoned crying. Actually crying. Sophie was upset they couldn't afford the country club, that all her friends were having lavish weddings while he looked like a failure, that I had a good profession, a house, and finances, and that he simply wanted one memorable day, like my wedding wasn't meant to be special. Calls worsened. Mr. Harrison said Nana would be disappointed in me. Lucas suffered because I never helped him. Successful siblings help, not leave each other. He really accused me of abandoning Lucas since I didn't pay for his wedding. My bridal shower was last week. My aunt threw it at home. Everything's amazing. About halfway through the opening, Mr. Harrison entered with Lucas and Sophie. I showed up without invitation. He told everyone I was selfish for spending $35,000 on myself and not helping my brother's wedding. The room quieted. Mr. Harrison's wedding donation was asked by my relative. Mr. Harrison stated she had watched me work since I was a teenager, while Lucas got ribbons for turning up. That she secretly bought my textbooks as my parents refused. That everyone in the room knew the real disappointment was not me. Mr. Harrison left Lucas behind. Sophie waited to call me selfish before my family took her. My family came with Lucas and Sophie in bridal gowns for my wedding last week. Just as I thought I was finally stress-free. I stood at the vineyard entrance watching Sophie whirl and pose like a model. My parents and Lucas stand behind her, acting normally while her white dress catches the light. I'm trying to understand what's happening, but it's like watching a movie in slow motion. My family brought my brother's girlfriend in a bridal gown to my wedding. Ryan holds my hand so tightly it hurts, bending down to emphasize we're okay. His voice was steady but had a new edge, like cold steel clothed in peace. Michael, the wedding organizer, stands at my elbow, shocked, pale and grinless, asking if I want him to call security. I nod. Yes, since I can't speak and my mind is still on Sophie spinning in her dress while others stare from the door. Michael quickly talks into his radio while I stand there with Ryan's hand grasping mine like an anchor, preventing me from falling into horror. Security comes in 2 minutes. 2 men in black suits work events like this. I eventually speak up to say that these people were not invited, and one is wearing a bridal gown to my wedding. Ryan's head appears and tells Mr. Harrison, in the coldest voice I've ever heard, that they must leave immediately or be arrested. His protection of me while my parents wouldn't makes me love him. Sophie begins crying loudly, theatrically, about wanting one perfect day. Why am I selfish when we may married here? Many of my invited visitors are bewildered by the spectacle. As expected, some are recording with their phones. I saw my co-worker Chloe encouraging me while shaking her head at Sophie's antics. Nana comes out faster than I've seen her in years and walks up to Sophie, her cane clicking on the stone sidewalk. She slowly examines Sophie's white dress and proclaims loudly that wearing a wedding gown to someone else's wedding is the trashiest thing she's seen in 90 years, and she's seen a lot. Mom runs over and says, Lucas is sobbing in the parking lot, and can't I just let them use the cocktail hour space for a quick ceremony? Like that's all they need, just a tiny corner of my wedding? I laugh at her hubris. Sarah, my maid of honor, Stands next to Ryan and tells my parents that she will call the police and file trespassing and harassment charges if they don't leave in 90 seconds. She's calling on her phone while staring at my parents. My photographer starts snapping shots of Sophie in her dress, my parents' expressions, and the situation since he's been shooting weddings for 15 years and has never seen anything like this. David, my cousin, is also filming on his phone and putting it up for everyone to see. He loudly warns Mr. Harrison that the whole family will see it on social media. Security personnel forcibly separate my family and myself while Michael gestures toward the exit. Sophie is screaming about her rights and discrimination, which makes no sense, but security is guiding her backward. Mr. Harrison persistently pushes past the guards, but they resist. Mom is weeping as Michael walks us to the parking lot. Lucas returns from his parking lot hiding spot, red and bloated, mumbling about how I get everything and he gets nothing. He reaches for me over the security guard and shouts, "I'm tearing the family apart." Ryan returns to my father, his steely voice piercing through the commotion like never before. Mr. Harrison becomes crimson and gestures at Ryan, saying I'm dead if they leave now. Completely dead. He'll tell everyone in our family he's a selfish dog. Sophie screams about discrimination and her rights as security leads her to the exit, her white dress sliding on the gravel pathway due to her high heels. Lucas follows them, glancing back at me with an emotion I can't decipher, possibly upset or embarrassed that his plan failed. I feel like I'm seeing someone else's wedding day tragedy instead of my own. On my happiest day, they vanish around the building's corner. I'm sad. I shake my hands and realize I've been holding my breath for ages. Ryan hugs me from behind and puts his chin on my shoulder, softly asking if I want to postpone the ceremony until I've processed everything. My veil shifts as I shake my head and say, I won't let them spoil my day anymore. We saved for 22 months, planned every detail, and invited everyone we love, and I'm marrying him today precisely as we planned. He squeezes me tighter and kisses my head while many guests check on me, their expressions reflecting concern and fury. Chloe grabs me first and hugs me, saying she knew my family was broken but not this badly. I nod into her shoulder because my throat is tight and I can't speak. Michael joins us and informs Ryan and me that he's giving us 40 minutes to recuperate, while he personally makes sure my family is off the vineyard property and not in the parking lot plotting round 2. He seems furious for us. Sarah grabs my hand and leads me to the main building so she can fix my makeup before anyone snaps photographs of me like this. We enter through the side entrance as guests split. I follow her numbly. They often grip my arm or murmur encouragement as I pass. She fixes my face as I try not to cry instead of making small chat or telling me everything would be alright. I ignore my phone buzzing in my little clutch because I can't handle the texts right now. Hannah discreetly knocks and enters without reply. She kneels next to my chair, holds my hands and tells me something that tightens my chest differently. She looks like Nana when she's angry. With fury and anxiety on her face, I gaze at her, trying to absorb that my aunt planned for my family's antics as my dad tried to hijack my wedding. Due to my parents' behavior, she and Jack hired private security to watch the parking lot and film everything in case we needed restraining orders. Hannah squeezes my hand and says they filmed Sophie in her wedding dress, Mr. Harrison's threats, and the full encounter, so we have all the proof we need for legal protection. Sarah adjusts my makeup and looks at Hannah with respect and nods, saying that's the sort someone else knocks on, and the minister pokes his head in with worry. Asks politely if I glance in the mirror and see Sarah applying my makeup. My veil is slightly wrong, and my eyes are crimson. When I think of Ryan waiting out there, Mary tells the minister I'm ready because I won't let my family steal this moment after everything they've taken over the years. He smiles and nods, stating he'll tell everyone we're moving forward, then quietly closes the door. After applying cosmetics and adjusting my veil, Sarah admires her job. She calls me beautiful and powerful, like a woman who knows her worth. I rise up and straighten my clothing, taking a long breath that hardly rattles. My phone buzzes repeatedly, loud in the silent room. When I bring it out, the screen lights up with texts from distant relatives. However, Mr. Harrison appears to be phoning individuals and manipulating his story. I've received letters from distant relatives, my mother's sisters, and family friends wondering what happened, instructing me to correct it, or demanding an explanation. I gaze at the computer, overwhelmed by the prospect of being deceived by unworthy people, and she says she'll deal with the messages after I'm married and on my way to my wedding reception. My family has left the property, Michael tells us in the corridor when we return to the ceremony room. He observed them drive away and told the gate staff to never let them back in. Michael informs the guests of a small delay, and instead of being unhappy, people start complimenting me on how I handled it. He proposes delaying the wedding for 40 minutes to calm everyone and prevent my relatives from returning. Starting the ceremony just to have them burst in again seems like a nightmare I can't abide. My hospital co-worker says she's been in a similar scenario with her family and sees me standing steady as hope she can too. One of Ryan's college pals believes my family did something wrong, but anyone could tell I did nothing. David sends me a text from our cousin, who says she always knew Mr. Harrison played favorites and is delighted someone finally exposed him. Nana walks carefully with her cane through the visitors to the front row where my mom was meant to sit and lowers herself onto the chair with Hannah's aid. The support seems overwhelming, like I'm surrounded by individuals who notice and respect me. She shouts that she's never been prouder of me and that I showed more strength today than most people do in a lifetime. Several visitors cheer, and I weep again, but these are beautiful tears from feeling supported and loved. Nana invites me closer, and as I lean down, she holds my face in her wrinkled hands and says my grandfather would be proud of me. After closing my throat, I nod since I can't talk without sobbing. She pats my face and encourages me to marry since I've kept Ryan waiting. Jack joins me and extends his arm, his eyes red from sobbing. I hold his arm as he takes me down the aisle, whispering that he is honored and that I deserve it. I giggle through tears and kiss her forehead before leaving. Players start the processional music as the ceremony begins. I needed to hear that my parents' conduct isn't normal or appropriate and that I'm right for refusing to tolerate it, so the comments hit me hard. I forget everything else as we go down the aisle and find Ryan waiting for me. Ryan is weeping when I approach him, and he holds my hands tightly as if he's terrified to let go. He calls me the strongest person he knows and says witnessing me stand up to my family today made him realize who he's marrying. He's never been more sure. The pastor clears his throat and tells everyone that we've conquered big challenges today, proving our marriage can endure anything. He says true love includes defending each other and standing up to haters, including family. His words are muffled by my gaze at Ryan. I resolve to construct a life with him that supports each other rather than tears us apart, unlike my childhood. Despite wanting to cry, I keep my voice firm since these words mean more after all that transpired. The minister kisses longer than expected, and I hear people clapping from afar. I entirely forget my parents, Lucas, Sophie and her for a moment. Just myself and Ryan, and we accomplished this despite everyone's attempts to stop us. When we split up, the visitors are cheering, whistling, and sobbing, including Jack, who isn't attempting to disguise it. After walking down the aisle as husband and wife, I hold Ryan's hand so fiercely my fingers hurt. After the photographs, the reception starts an hour later, and I barely sit down before people start approaching our table. A woman from Ryan's office told me her sister tried to spoil her wedding, and witnessing me stand solid today gave her shivers. Realizing how many individuals have dysfunctional families is weird yet reassuring. After seeing my experience, one of my nursing school classmates has opted to avoid her toxic mother, and a couple I don't know claims they eloped due to family issues and wish they'd done it openly. Everyone understands what my parents did. David found me during cocktail hour with his phone out and showed me the video he recorded of the entire entrance disaster, from Sophie posing in her wedding gown to watching it. Makes my stomach turn. I tell him to send it anyway. David has a backup copy, and the video shows everything, even Mr. Harrison's emotions when Ryan instructed him to go and Sophie's discriminating tantrum. Part of me realizes I may need proof if my family rewrites events. He also notes that half the family is messaging to inquire what occurred since Mr. Harrison is circulating a fair version of events. Restarting my phone to check texts makes me regret it. I rapidly scan 47 texts and 12 voicemails from family and find a mix. My cousin from Mr. Harrison's side insists I apologize for humiliating everyone. Uncle Greg doesn't understand why Lucas wanted to attend my wedding. He puts 3 big letters from Mom's sister in his jacket pocket and tells me we'll deal with them tomorrow. Chloe from the hospital takes me aside near the bar and offers to help in the coming weeks. She offers to check my work calls or has experienced something similar with her parents and understands how hard it is. She may not comprehend how much a co-worker's genuine assistance matters. Chloe is helping, unlike most individuals who pretend they are. She thinks they'll become worse before they get better, and I should prepare for an extinction burst when my parents understand I'm serious about the photographer. He pulls me away from the dessert table before dinner and shows me his camera screen with his images. He retained some of my family's drama images but cut out most. Ryan stepped in front of me when Mr. Harrison yelled, "Other me," standing upright. He assures that the finished album will tell the narrative of 2 individuals who won their wedding day. I appreciate him and recognize these images will mean more than gorgeous ones. Hannah stands to toast at supper. She says chosen family is as vital as biological family, if not more so, because you pick your true loves and supporters. She is honored to be here since I've always been more like a daughter to her than a niece. She recalls watching me work as a teenager while my parents excused Lucas. Ryan holds me close and murmurs that we're starting our marriage correctly by putting each other first during our first dance to the music we selected months ago. I know he's right. Today showed we can manage anything, including my family's worst behavior, and preserve our wedding day and each other when it counts. My phone buzzes in Ryan's pocket during the last dance set, and I feel certain that we chose marriage despite the stress. He pulls it out and checks the screen, then shows me a long text from Lucas calling me evil and selfish, saying Sophie is devastated and their relationship is falling apart because of me, claiming I ruined his life by not helping with the wedding and then humiliating them today, and blaming me for Sophie reconsidering their engagement. Read it all, delete it without reacting. I say I'm okay when Ryan asks. It feels fantastic to reject responsibility for my brother's difficulties. For the first time I switch off and put my phone in Ryan's jacket pocket. Nana joins me while the caterers set up the cake table. She grabs my arm and pulls me away from the crowd to a calmer spot near our wedding arbor. The vineyard is filled with music and laughter as the event proceeds. Her 90-year-old grasp is unexpectedly strong, and I can sense she has something essential to communicate. She stops walking and faces me with that serious expression she has before dropping a bomb, telling me that the home should go to the grandchild who deserves it, worked for all they have, and appreciates what they have. I tell her that's too much and that Lucas will lose his mind and cause more problems, but she pats my cheek and says, Lucas getting upset over consequences is exactly why he needs to learn he can't coast through life expecting handouts. She says the house has been in our family for 60 years and she wants it to go to someone who will appreciate and care for it. She hugs me and says my grandpa would be proud of me despite my parents' mistakes. The party continues, and I finally enjoy my wedding reception. Ryan and I dance with our buddies as Nana tells embarrassing childhood anecdotes at her table. The vineyard crew delivers my 3-tiered cake with beautiful flowers flowing down the edges. My true family, those who love and support me, is here to celebrate. Hannah and Jack dance, pleased and calm after the turmoil. The youngsters rush around the dance floor. Sarah speaks about how she's known me since college and watched me work harder than anybody else. The photographer is still shooting shots, and I know they will capture the genuine celebration. The delight we felt after protecting our link. Nana kisses both cheeks and advises us to be happy together. David finds me around midnight and gives me additional ceremony and reception footage. These movies show my true, lovely delight, which is all I wanted for my wedding. Hannah murmurs that she's always here as she holds me so tightly I can't breathe. Nice room with city lights and a huge bed. After changing out of our wedding attire, I broke down. I cry onto Ryan's chest over losing my parents and sibling, destroying my day. He cradles me without trying to repair or reassure me. Ryan touches my hair and is sorry my family damaged me. He lets me weep for the family I should have had, not the one I got. I cry over my father choosing my brother over me on my wedding day, my mother letting it happen, and Lucas bringing his girlfriend in a wedding dress to ruin my 22-month-long plan. Ryan checks his phone first, widening his eyes. After crying till I'm spent, I fall asleep in his arms. My parents should have loved, safeguarded, and prioritized me. He shows me that David posted the video, and people are saying they finally understand what Nana meant at the bridal shower about his parenting failures. Someone Mr. Harrison works with wrote that this explains so much about the conversation. And another family friend says they always wondered why I never talked about my parents. My aunt's friends say they saw the bridal shower event and this video shows the trend. Sophie in her wedding dress, Mr. Harrison shouting at security, Mom guilting me, and Ryan protecting me are all on the tape. It shows me staying firm and not letting them spoil my day. Ryan asks if I want to go on our honeymoon to Hawaii or stay and deal with the aftermath. I say no. The responses are mostly positive and critical of my parents, with numerous people personally tagging my father and asking how he could do this to his daughter on her wedding day. Ryan agrees and says we'll celebrate our marriage without my family's problems. As we pack our luggage and travel to the airport that afternoon, I generally switch off my phone to avoid seeing messages and getting caught up in the frenzy. A notebook in hand, I write all I want to say to my parents on the journey. The letter is pages long and I'll never mail it, but writing it helps. In my writing, I describe how they gave Lucas everything while making me pay rent as a teenager, paid for his college but not mine, excused his failures while dismissing my successes, demanded I fund his wedding after saving for mine, and showed up to sabotage my wedding. Ryan reads over my shoulder and squeezes my hand when I reach the part. Writing it all down helps me understand how deep the partiality goes and how long I've tried to earn affection that never came. The warm air of Hawaii makes us feel free to let go of home. Our beachfront hotel accommodation offers a balcony facing the ocean. I focus on happiness and appreciating my marriage to Ryan. We swim in the beautiful ocean and eat fresh fish at restaurants with our toes on the sand, yet sadness keeps striking me suddenly. Ryan's comments make me chuckle, then weep because my parents should be proud of me. I long for what I never had when I watch a family playing on the beach. Ryan is. Daily phone checks ensure nothing urgent is happening. As relatives' messages build up, I read them slowly. I hear from cousins who haven't spoken in years that Mr. Harrison always liked Lucas. The uncle claims that Mr. Harrison became defensive and stopped talking to him for months when he tried to discuss it years ago. My mom's sister writes a long mail about seeing the partiality and regretting not supporting me more. She admires my handling of things and understands why I shut my folks out. Hannah texts me an unwelcome report on day 3 of the honeymoon. She claims Mr. Harrison arrived at her residence that morning and requested she reason with me. When Mr. Harrison began ranting at her, Jack threatened to sue for harassment and seek a restraining order if he returned. Reading these letters reassures me I'm not insane or theatrical. Hannah claims Mr. Harrison departed, but he yelled about treachery as he drove away. She apologized for interrupting me on my honeymoon, but wanted to warn me in case Mr. Harrison escalates. Ryan receives the note and suggests reviewing restraining orders when we get home if Mr. Harrison doesn't settle down. Sophie's mother sends a long apology the next day, stating she had no knowledge and is humiliated by her daughter's actions. She's forcing Sophie to return the dress and apologize, saying she told her she was coming to the wedding as Lucas's date and didn't know about the sabotage plan. Sophie's mother claims she raised her better and accepts if I never talk to her again. At least someone is taking responsibility for this disaster, which surprised me. I commend her for her apologies and honesty. Not sure if Sophie will apologize or if it matters, but her mother attempted to make things right. I commend her for apologizing and being honest. I wake up to 3 missed Lucas calls and a big text on honeymoon day 5. My stomach lowers before I read it because 3 missed calls are bad. He and Sophie split up last night, and she said she only stayed with him because I would pay for their wedding. When it became evident that wouldn't happen, she declared he was useless and she wanted a provider. Lucas is sorry for everything and understands why I declined. He claims Sophie revealed her true nature and feels stupid for not recognizing it sooner. My heart goes out to him. Ryan looks over the message and waits a moment before asking whether I want to answer. Perhaps later, but I want to enjoy our last day in Hawaii without thinking about my family. The morning is on the beach and the afternoon is at a local market, eating shaved ice, purchasing ridiculous trinkets and snapping photographs with our toes in the sand. Perfect, typical, and just what I needed. Ryan brings up the matter while we watch the sunset on our balcony. I know he's correct, but don't want to think about it. We discuss for 2 hours about future contact, deal breakers, and what we're ready to accept. Ryan won't let my parents treat me like crap anymore, and I don't either. Ryan grabs my hand and tells me that safeguarding our marriage and future children from poisonous individuals is the most loving thing we can do. We agree to cut Mr. Harrison and Mom off unless they apologize and modify their conduct. I feel different when we travel home 3 days later. Sorting through I gaze at the $10,000 check, assuming it's a mistake, because it's enormous. She gave me this money as a wedding gift and said she was saving it for Mr. Harrison and Mom's burial, but she wanted me to start my life with Ryan immediately. She writes her pride in me. Ryan reads the message over my shoulder, cracking when he says my grandmother is the finest person he knows. We phone her immediately to thank her, and she says we may use it for a down payment on a bigger house, a trip, or whatever else we want as long as we're pleased. When my coworkers inquire about my honeymoon, I show them beach and sunset photos. I don't discuss the family issues with outsiders because I'm not ready. My boss calls me into her office mid-morning to check on me. I must look. She says similar familial difficulties nearly ruined her years ago. She recommends a family trauma therapist and says the hospital insurance covers it. But I take the card, thank her, and am pleased that someone understands. 3 weeks after the wedding, I book a therapy appointment, which I almost cancel 3 times because I think I'm overreacting and should move on. The therapist listens, makes notes, and doesn't seem startled by my comments. She concludes that my wedding was the healthiest thing I could have done, because having boundaries with toxic relatives and not being accountable for my parents' or brother's actions made me feel less insane. Maybe I'm not a bad daughter for not funding Lucas. Maybe I've just learned to protect myself. I attend weekly and it helps more than expected. I don't answer Mom's call on Wednesday afternoon, 4 weeks after the wedding, because we promised not to talk till they apologize. I listen to her message when Ryan is home. She yells that I disgraced the family and wrecked Lucas's life, that everyone is talking about me, and that she can't show her face. She demands I apologize to everyone and pay for Lucas's therapy since he's so depressed he can't get up. If I don't make this right, I'll regret it for the rest of my life. The voicemail stops, leaving me motionless. I refuse to call her back when Ryan asks, so I text her. I'm prepared to re-establish our connection if she and Mr. Harrison go to family therapy and admit they've treated me differently than Lucas their whole lives. I block her number because I'm done being tricked. Over the following 2 weeks, Ryan and I settle into married life, which is great despite everything. My Nana invites us to supper every Sunday. And it becomes She says he would have been proud of me for sticking up for myself and not allowing anyone bully me. We prepare supper, watch movies, and discuss what sort of house we want to purchase with Nana's gift. We're developing our own traditions and family definition that Dad always believed a person's character is measured by how they treat others when they have nothing to gain. She grabs my hand across the table and says I was perfect despite my parents' attempts to break me. I almost toss away a letter with Lucas's handwriting on the envelope 4 months after the wedding, but Ryan tells me to read it. I gently open it, fearing it would explode, and find 3 pages of intelligent writing. According to Lucas, breaking up with Sophie was the wake-up call he needed to understand how entitled he had been his whole life. He's now working, going to school, and trying to become someone he can be proud of. He hopes we may reconnect eventually, but he doesn't expect me to forgive him straight soon. The letter seems honest, unlike the deceptive weeping call. Put it on the kitchen counter and tell Ryan I need time to ponder. I don't owe Lucas anything since he apologized, he says. However, I wonder whether losing Sophie let Lucas see things clearly for the first time. I'm not ready to react. But I keep the letter. After 2 weeks, I text Lucas to meet at a downtown coffee shop on Saturday morning. Within minutes, he says yes and asks when I'm available. I pick 10 a.m. because I can leave anytime and it seems secure and public. Saturday arrives, and I drive there feeling terrible because I anticipate him to cancel, show up late or bring new drama. But when I arrive at 10, he's seated at a corner table with 2 coffees. When he sees me, he rises up and appears scared like never before. After sitting down, I hold the coffee cup he bought me and converse. I tell him about working at the grocery store while being taken to soccer practice at 14, paying rent at 18 while living for free, and taking out loans while his education was paid for. Mr. Harrison labeled me theatrical or selfish for wanting Lucas treatment without asking. He never interrupts, acknowledges that Mom and Dad gave him everything his whole life and he never had to work or face repercussions, and admits that he now knows he was entitled, taking advantage and expecting others to handle his issues. Then he tells me that he broke his lease on the apartment he couldn't afford, that he got a job doing customer service at a call center, which isn't glamorous but pays well, that he enrolled in community college to finish his degree part-time, and that he wants to re-earn my trust, which he knows will take more than words. I sat there analyzing what he said since it sounds so different from Lucas I've always known. I thank him for the apology. But restoring our connection will take time and continuous altered behavior, and I need to see him follow through for months before I can trust him again. Nodding, he says he understands and wants a chance to prove he's changed. It's unusual but not bad to chat about his new flat and my honeymoon for 20 minutes. We depart. He embraces me and thanks me for meeting him. And I drive home wondering if this is genuine or a ruse. 3 days later, I get Mr. Harrison's message notification while browsing Facebook at lunch at work. I open it and feel my blood pressure increase. He wrote 5 pages about how I've turned Lucas against him, destroyed the family, and everyone thinks I'm harsh. He says I'm rewriting history to make myself seem good and him look bad. Lucas isn't returning his calls, and I'm to blame for lying to him about the past. He insists that I quit influencing my brother and get him to talk to his parents. After reading twice, I block him. He's gone from my contacts, social media, and life with one click. Ryan asks whether I'm okay that night, and I say I'm tired of being blamed for Mr. Harrison's activities. Blocking him is like closing a door I should have closed years ago. When November arrives, Hannah phones to invite us to Thanksgiving at her place. She makes it plain that Mr. Harrison and Mom aren't invited if they can't be courteous and respectful, that Thanksgiving is about family that treats each other well. She says she invited Lucas separately, and he accepted. Ryan and I bring a pumpkin pie and low hopes to Hannah's on Thanksgiving. Lucas comes 30 minutes later and we meet awkwardly but not badly. He cooked homemade mashed potatoes instead of purchasing them. He talks about his school and career at supper without asking for anything or guilting me about Mom and Dad. Lucas says community college is tougher than imagined since he needs to study when Jack asks how it's going. We discuss how I can live without them, and how chosen family is as essential as biological family. Ryan returns from work in December as senior project manager. That night, we sit at our kitchen table with a notepad and really consider purchasing a house, looking at communities we like and calculating what we can afford with Nana's gift, our savings, and Ryan's new job. It's nice to plan our future without worrying about bailing out Lucas, lending money to my parents, or sacrificing our aspirations for someone else's emergency. Lucas texts me often with updates on his progress, including a photo of his first college test grade, which is a B+. Short texts don't demand a response, yet I find myself answering more often than planned, inquiring about his grades or congratulating him on his new job. He ultimately states that he's working hard and arriving on time at a computer business for entry-level assistants. An email from Mom arrives 6 months after the wedding as I clear up my inbox. I almost delete it, but curiosity triumphs, and I open it to discover 3 phrases expressing she misses me. This is her first admission that our arrangement upsets her. I gaze at those 3 phrases for a while, trying to decide how I feel. 2 days later, I reply. I tell her I miss her. But I need a sincere apology. That missing someone isn't enough if they won't accept how they hurt you. And that I'm open to rebuilding if she's ready to work. I'm not taking crumbs anymore. I transmit and wait. She never answers for weeks. Before sitting with Hannah and Jack, I glance at Mr. Harrison in the corner with Mom for a moment. Ryan says she can do what she wants with the chance I gave her. I save her email and my response in a folder to remember I tried. I see Nana every day after work for the following week, sometimes with Mr. Harrison, but we never speak. Nana is stable but weaker, and doctors think her heart is deteriorating. While in the hospital, I realize I'm okay with Mr. Harrison's quiet. Instead of regret or sadness, I feel indifferent, like he's a stranger I occasionally encounter. 4 months later, Ryan arrives home with documents and informs us we got a mortgage on a house we wanted with great schools and a big backyard. After closing 2 weeks later, we spend our first weekend painting the guest room a light hue, hanging Nana's photos, and setting up Aunt Hannah's furnishings. The house seems like a fresh start after everything. Lucas surprises me by arriving at 7 a.m. on moving day. Ready to work. He moves boxes and furniture without complaint and appears glad to help. Jack and David are there, and we get everything. We order pizza and sit on our new living room floor that night since we're too weary to arrange the table. Lucas tells me between bites that he's happy of how he's studying in community college, which is harder than he thought. I mean, when I say I'm proud of him, I wake up in our house with Ryan a year after the wedding and realize I'm satisfied with our life, not perfect or problem-free. Lucas is working hard to repair our connection. Nana and Aunt Hannah's family join us for supper. My biggest lesson is that peace is more vital than harmful relationships. Since we share DNA, Mom never returned my email, and Mr. Harrison never apologized, but I'm happy with it since I've made a good life without them.